What's happening, guys? John and Brad with Best Price Nutrition. Be sure to check out the website at BestPriceNutrition.com. Subscribe here on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. We do a lot of deals exclusively on social media. I said deals. We do a lot of giveaways. We just had an animal giveaway for creatine shoes last week. And let you guys know about new supplements we're bringing in, as well as kind of doing breakdowns of some of our fan favorites. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about cycle support for pro-hormone cycles. We're going to be kind of breaking down the difference between Arimiplex, which is a PCT or post-cycle support, and Arimistane, which is more on-cycle support, and an estrogen blocker. We'll kind of go through what these are, how to take them with your cycle, what pro-hormones you would want to take either one of these with, kind of the benefits, and kind of answer some other frequently asked questions.
Yeah, and just to start, the reason we're doing this, I think, is because one of the most common questions or most common misconceptions I see all the time is people think that they could just do Arimistane as a PCT by itself. It's part of the PCT, it's not a full PCT. Arimiplex is a full PCT.
And then the names are so similar too, I think people get confused by that.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll start with Arimistane. So it says on the front, powerful estrogen blocker. It's one ingredient. It's androsta 3,5-DN7,17-dione as Arimistane. So this is a trademarked ingredient called Arimistane. It's an aromatase inhibitor. And what that means is that when you have an enzyme in your body called aromatase, and what it does is it takes your testosterone and converts it over to estrogen. So if you take this, what it's going to do is it's going to bind to that enzyme. That enzyme is going to be inactive, and it's not going to be able to convert your testosterone to estrogen. So it's going to do two things. It's going to let you have more testosterone because it's not being converted over to estrogen, and it's going to keep your estrogen low because it's not having that conversion over. So it's doing one thing, but it's getting two effects. So you would want to do this in a cycle or a situation where your testosterone is raised, because the more testosterone you have, the more of that conversion is going to happen. So the higher your testosterone goes, the more your estrogen goes up. So you take an aromatase inhibitor to keep it down. So you would want to take these if you're going to take a cycle with a 4-andro. So that's going to be androdiol, superdrol, anavar,
Sustanon 250.
Sustanon 250, halotestin.
Yep. Like you were saying before we started the video, we always recommend these for people on 4-andros. 1-andros, it's kind of like you can get one and keep it on the side, or order one if you need one, but probably pretty unlikely that they'll wind up needing that.
Yeah. So anything that isn't a 4-andro, because a 4-andro will convert to testosterone, the rest of the pro-hormones don't convert to testosterone. I think there's a couple of them that have really slight estrogenic activity, but I don't think it's anything you would need this for. If you're going to see that, if you're someone who's going to start doing pro-hormones and you think you're just going to cycle for a long time, grab a bottle and just keep it on hand, like John said, because it's a good idea. And just wait to see if you feel the estrogenic side effects, and then just start taking like a pill a day, maybe 2 pills a day, until those effects go away.
And as far as when you say estrogenic side effects, that would be things like low libido, sensitive nipples, lethargy, anything else?
Holding water. Yeah. The most common thing I've noticed, and what most people notice, is you'll wake up in the morning and your face feels super tight, or if you just kind of notice throughout the day your face feels tight, it's because there's a bunch of water behind it. Basically, if you talk to a girl on what she feels during her period, that's high levels of estrogen, so that's going to be the effects that it is, bloated, all that stuff. So just keep that in mind. If you start feeling it, your estrogen's probably pretty high.
And people always ask, how does I'm getting myself confused with the names. How does Arimistane compare to like estrogenics?
So estrogenics, the depot, and the second generation. Second generation has this in there. I don't know how much.
I think it's a little bit lower dose, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a lower dose and has a bunch of other like herbal stuff in there. The estrogenics depot is all herbal stuff. So depending what you're doing, if you just want to take something to take it to maybe lower your estrogen, if you think you just naturally have a higher level, you probably want to do estrogenics depot. Arimistane and estrogenic second generation are going to be stronger, so those are probably things you would want to take on cycle. If you want to take a lower amount of this for whatever reason and herbal stuff, that's where the estrogenic second generation comes in. If you just want to take a strong dose of Arimistane, of this compound, that's what this is, and it's just that one ingredient. So those are kind of the differences, and there's other herbal estrogen blocking supplements. If you're taking pro-hormones or if you're taking full-on steroids, you probably don't want to rely on something herbal and that natural. If you're taking something that's not natural, you kind of want to combat it with something that's pretty strong.
Now, say someone's 2-3 weeks into a 2-month cycle, and they start feeling some of these symptoms that we mentioned. Do they just take this till it goes away? Do they take it for the rest of the cycle?
So there's two different things. If you do it by the way that the bottles say, when you start your cycle, you're supposed to take 1 pill in the morning, 1 pill in the afternoon the whole time. How I personally would take it and how I usually recommend to people is if you're halfway through a cycle and you start feeling the effects, start taking a pill a day for a week and see if that brings it down. If that doesn't work, start taking 2 pills a day for a week and see if that brings it down. You shouldn't have to bring more than that, but the problem with taking too much of this is that if you lower your estrogen too much, you're going to get a different set of side effects. And it's going to take a while to do either, so it's not like overnight you're going to do one or the other. But you kind of want to have your estrogen at the higher range of normal because you need estrogen to help you grow muscle, and it's actually good for you. You need it. You don't want it to be low all the time because you'll also have low libido, and you'll kind of just feel depressed and like shit.
Yeah, and I think that's a misconception. I think a lot of people are looking to crush their estrogen, and you actually need estrogen.
Yeah. And what a lot of people do, they're like, oh, my face is puffy, I'm going to take 10 pills a day. You'll definitely crush your estrogen then, and it's going to be no good. I have done it before with an aromatase inhibitor, and my estrogen has been 0, and it's crazy. You feel like shit. You just like stare at a wall for 6 hours and feel absolutely nothing. So you don't want to do that, and I don't want to like scare anyone into it, but don't go crazy with it right when you think you feel something. Just take a pill a day. It takes a while to build up. It'll take a while to go down. Don't think anything's going to get fixed immediately. Just be calm with it and do it normally.
So we'll get into Arimiplex. This is a PCT, and for anyone who's watching the video who's brand new to pro hormones, people can run a 30 or 60-day cycle. We typically recommend 60 days because the results are going to start coming kind of right towards the end of the first 30. But once somebody finishes their 60-day cycle, they should start taking the Arimiplex 2 a day, run this for 30 days, and then take another 30-day break before they hop back on another cycle. Yeah.
Rule of thumb is as long as you're on cycle, be off. So, and on cycle means on pro hormones. So if you're taking a 30-day cycle, 30 days off will include your PCT. So a month on of whatever you're doing androdiol, a month off of androdiol, but in that month off, take this.
And this is, we're kind of talking, this is like a full spectrum PCT, right? So it's going to help restore their test levels, balance them out, liver support, prostate support, organ support, cardiovascular support, liver support.
Yes. This is probably one of the best ones that there is. When we were looking at it earlier, I was like, wow, you could probably and should probably take this during cycle. So if money's no object and you could kind of throw the kitchen sink at it, I would say on cycle you want to take this too because it does have the liver support. It does have the cardio support in the form of pine bark and grapeseed and the polycosanols. So it has those 3 things for your heart health, which is really good. It has some testosterone boosting things. It has prostate support, which is really, really good. Saw palmetto, NAC, stinging nettle, pygeum. And then it does have some Arimistane in there.
You notice a lot of people are worried about hair loss. Saw palmetto, good for hair loss. It's the number 1 ingredient in the prostate support blend.
Yeah. It'll help block DHT. If you can do it, take this during cycle. If you can only afford 1 bottle of it, take it as a post cycle. So that's while your body's clearing out of, let's say you're taking Superdrol or Androdiol, while your body's clearing out of that and your natural levels are trying to get back to normal, it's going to help promote your natural levels getting back to homeostasis because they're probably going to shut down a little bit. And then it's also going to keep your estrogen low while you're off cycle. So you don't have to keep taking this. This is in here.
So these are going to be on cycle. These are going to be post cycle.
Yes.
And I guess just kind of well in the topic of cycle support. Does somebody need to take? I know today's pro hormones are non-methylated, so the liver RX isn't a must. But a lot of people like adding that one on. Is this enough milk thistle on its own, or for people who want a little bit extra support, is it still worth taking liver RX?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. I don't know what the dosages of milk thistle are. I do know that, like you said, the pro hormones are non-methylated, so you're probably fine with that. If you're someone who's going to continue drinking, though, on cycle, or I've talked to a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll mix pro hormones and then, actual oxandrolone anavar or winstrol or, actual steroids. If you're going to be mixing actual steroids with pro hormones, you probably want to take an additional liver support, or if you're going to drink on cycle, you want to take an additional liver support, because that's just that's the stuff that you're actually really going to want the liver support for. And I don't know if what's in there is going to be enough to combat like actual Anavar and stuff like that.
And we have a lot of stacks built out on the website, so for people who are kind of confused about what pro hormones to add together, we've got a lot of stacks built out. Some of them even include your on-cycle and on-cycle support and PCT. Others are just the pro hormones. If you wanted to add some support, this should go with every pro hormone cycle, and this, like you said, either a bottle to keep around or with the 4 andros, maybe the 19 Noras.
Yeah, and then just to keep in mind when you're looking at those cycles, a way that a lot of them are set up, if you see like shredding or cutting stacks or anything like that, you're probably not going to see Arimistane, because a lot of times the thing that's going to make a stack cutting or shredding or anything like that is going to be that there's no 4-andro in there, there's no testosterone. So if there's no 4-andro in there, you probably don't need this. So if you're looking at the stacks, you may notice, like, why is it Arimistane in a lot of the cutting ones? That's probably why.
Anything that's going to be like the bulking stacks, the wet-ass pro hormone stack, any of those, you probably want to grab an Arimistane.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys have any additional questions, anything we didn't cover, feel free to leave comments. We will always try to get back to you as soon as we can.
Later, guys.
Thanks.